business branding in 2026, why is it important to get that corporate brand looking good online? Is it part of your online reputation management strategy, or is it not? Mike, why is it important to have that brand SERP, like that brand search engine results page, looking positive for your corporate brand?
I think not only so if someone has heard your name from word of mouth and they Google you, but now if you get cited by ChatGPT or something, they're just going to Google you straight away. And they've already had that vote from an AI search engine. And if they Google you and see something that's undesirable or just random scattered results, it doesn't look good. It's like your digital presence. That's your front window of your office. So it needs to look good, it needs to look smart, it needs to look professional. You want to see those review stars, you want to see the right images, the right videos. If you don't paint a good picture of your own brand, then you're letting other people paint that picture. And if you upset the wrong people, that they're going to write some mean things about you, and you got to control the narrative yourself.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Paul, with regards to any brands that you work with? Why is it important to sort that branding out initially?
I think personally, this is going back to marketing techniques, right, and marketing knowledge. When people search online, even if you've been recommended to them, sometimes they're going to search your brand, right? Or if you've got a product that's been recommended, they're going to search your brand. A lot of people are searching because they want to be told not to spend the money. They're looking for a reason not to transact because they're in a state of, I don't know if I should do this. It's always easier to not do something, and you should not give them any reason to not transact. So given that, especially in this day and age now, when it's so easy through the LLMs and through search engines to Google your brand, if you don't control the narrative and you don't positively control the narrative and reinforce, and I'm not talking about with platitudes, but with actual information. So this is making sure that you put any good testimonials, reviews and things front and center. A lot of people, what they don't do, they get reviews online, say through Google or Trustpilot or something. What they should be doing is taking screenshots of those reviews and pushing that out further and wider so that you cover the SERPs with all of these good testimonials and reviews. Get video testimonials from people if you can. Do everything you can to encourage people to produce something that you can use online that is going to be either a point where you convince someone to do business with you, or at the very least you keep them on track. So if you've been recommended, you reassure them with that positive brand message. They go, oh, I'm relieved now, yeah, because my friend recommended them and I'm seeing online that it looks like that's a good decision, I'm in. Because they will just look for any reason not to deal with anybody. It's always, I remember Dan Kennedy saying, people always have three options. They can buy from you, they can buy from someone else, or they can do nothing. Most people do nothing, so don't give them that option. That's my kind of take on it, really.
Yeah, loving that. Luke, what about yourself?
Yeah, one of the things I tend to keep secret, but I can talk about it here probably because it's relevant, but my background is I used to teach Latin and Greek as a sort of languages teacher way back in the day. Okay. So the reason I bring that up is like there's 2,000 years plus of very clear documentable evidence. Human nature has not changed that much just because we're online. And it does come down to, does a prospect know, like and trust you or your brand by extension? So when they do search your brand, you can infer they already know who you are. That part is inferred by the fact they're searching for you. So it comes down to, do they like, do they trust you? And the search engine pages and the LLM results, they give a really, in the case of LLMs especially, a very opinionated slant on what they think and therefore what the user should be thinking about your brand. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to promote yourself in the ways you want to. At the moment, we're in this golden era of LLMs where you can pretty much prime them to say what it is you want them to say about your brand. So you can start to get these technologies, not just to know you, but also to like and to trust you in terms of what they're saying about your brand. So for all these reasons, I think this is like hugely important for corporate online branding.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, it's the business card. Your brand SERP is the business card of who you are and what you do. They see that before they see your website if they're searching your name. So that is more important than even what you're saying on your website. You need, and obviously the people like seeing what other people are saying about you. And Mike, you touch on where people who get seen in the AI overviews then might go on to search you. Even more than that, a lot of the time in the AI overviews, when you get mentioned, you get the 3 dotted links. They get the dotted link underneath your name. And when you click onto that, that goes through and does your branded search. So you don't even need to go and open a new tab and physically do a search. It links through to your branded search. So then who you are, what you do, and why you're great. That initial brand SERP is key, in my opinion, for the business. And I love that idea of you've got the 3 choices. Are they going to order from you? Are they going to order from a competitor? Or are they going to do nothing? And like you said, I reckon probably 70% of people do nothing. So then you've only got a 30% chance of winning. So you've got to be making certain that you're going, okay, you are the choice for that, either selling that product or providing that service or whatever else it is. But Mike, business branding, what is it that you're doing? So if you've gone and got, let's throw something out there. Let's say you've got an article ranked on page 1. So let's say it's ranked in position number 2 or position number 3, so just behind your brand. And it's something that says, don't use this company. And they've had a bad experience and they've gone out of their way to create an article to say, don't use this company. What are you doing from an online reputation management point of view or business branding point of view to try to either suppress it, remove it? Like what's your strategy there to say, I need to control this narrative?
I've seen people just try and use kind of negative SEO tactics to get things down, like mass spamming things with like commercial anchor text links or adult themed links has worked before. But from more of like a on the other side of the hat, like getting better quality press mentions is probably the best thing to do. So if someone's just gone and got a fairly average website and they've written something there, like maybe it's like a forum thread or something, trying to get stronger websites saying good things about you will eventually push that down. There is always the freshness factor as well, that eventually things will just drop over time, but it's better to be, like we said, be proactive and have stuff like ready to go already. So one of the best things you can do is go out and get kind of interviews or any sort of guest appearances on people's podcasts and things like that, because that's fresh and then they can be turned into blog posts and extra content. A lot of people would go, okay, the founder of the company's had some negative press. And it's like, okay, well, can he go and get an interview on his university alumni website? They'll all go and outrank that. Can he go get some sort of starter story, founder, business sort of interview instead to go there? Can we get some positive testimonials published on other sites? Pay for some expensive PR with like a Forbes or a business.com and investing.com type of website to get that above, a really negative forum post. Sometimes it is going to cost money and they are going to have to chuck money at it.
What about you, Paul?
Well, I agree with everything Mike's just said there, but I think one of the things that is a preemptive thing that I see businesses simply not doing, we even do this with our lead gen business, is making sure that you respond to not just bad reviews, all reviews, always respond, and always respond to customers that complain, even if they haven't left a review, because sometimes the bad press that you get is because you failed to actually address an issue. So sometimes you're the cause of these directly by not addressing the issue and fixing it. So some of these things can be addressed before they happen. But other than that, I can only agree with what Mike's saying. That if after the event you've got this negative stuff there, I wouldn't engage anybody to do spammy negative SEO tactics. That can backfire on you, for one thing. Also, it's just not an ethical way of going about it. Just it's far more beneficial in the long term anyway to just focus on putting your resources into positive reinforcement to try and push those negative things down. And if you've got more higher authority, better semantically written content, and more timely content, so it's more up-to-date content, and you do enough of it, you'll start suppressing those bad. Unless there's a lot of it, I mean, then you might have some very fundamental things to address. But if it's just one or two things that you need to push down, yeah, I'd agree with Mike. That's what you do to go about it. Just use positive reinforcement.
What about yourself, Luke?
Yeah, I'd say like the cold-blooded, simple to say, not simple to do answer is you need to outrank whatever this offending article is 10 times, push it onto page 2, and then control what the LLMs say in terms of any specific citation synthesis. And then that's when the issue would go away. Easy to say, harder to do. Like, until you get to that point, one thing you can do is you can potentially stop or mitigate the issue at source. So if you control what some of the suggestions are when someone does search for your brand, so like if someone types in your brand in Google, you often have that drop down or suggested kind of extra words on the end. If you can start to control what those are, you can push down any negative ones and then stop those SERPs even being, or at least mitigate them being searched in the first place when the negative news does come up. So I guess that's a twist on what Paul's saying, but maybe trying to cut off the stem of search demand going to those articles in the first place.
Idea, actually.
Yeah. Is there anything else then with regards to business branding? Like, what would you say the core, like, if you could sum up business branding in 30 seconds, Mike, sum up what business branding is and what you would do.
Do a good job with your business and then make sure your online message portrays that as well. Because like Paul said, a lot can be avoided by fixing issues in the first place. I see a lot of companies with 3-star reviews on TripAdvisor because people have asked for refunds and they've not given them a refund. It's like, just give them the refund. It's costing you more now with bad review rating. It'd be nice.
Yeah, for sure. What about yourself, Paul?
Kind of an extension of what Mike's just said is I have a thing I call the ugly baby syndrome, right? Which is that everyone can see an ugly baby, but the only person it's not ugly to is the mother. And a lot of businesses are like this. So the business owner doesn't see the reality of what they've created. So I think you need to step out from inside your business, view it from outside as a customer would. It's harder to do than it sounds, but try to be as impartial as you can and be honest with yourself about what your brand actually looks like to the outside world, and then set about fixing things if it isn't the image that you want. I mean, we could talk, we could go on and on about the digital ways to actually do that, but I think fundamentally the biggest challenge and the biggest problem is that people just won't be honest with themselves, and that's really where it all stems from. As Mike said, a lot of these things, Luke said, a lot of these things can be avoided and preempted just by being brutally honest with yourself about what you represent as a brand. Yeah, it's.
What about yourself, Luke?
Yeah, I would say spend as much time as you need to really identify who it is you serve and who you want to serve and who you're a good fit for, and equally who you're not a good fit for. You might have this fantastic idea of serving lawyers in the US, for example, because you hear all these wonderful stories about how lucrative that is. That just may not be you. You may not objectively, back to what Paul was saying, be any good at that. It might not be a good fit. So find out who you're really good at serving, find out who you don't want to serve, based all of your messaging, every touch point people might have online around who those people you do want to serve are, and then double down on what you know is a good match, and it's a virtuous circle from there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Understanding who your ideal customer persona is key, and then doing all the marketing strategies around it. But for me, like, one thing that I think the most important part is, Paul, in previous videos you spoke about just being a good all-round marketer in general. And I think key is when you go and do a good job and you've got a case study and you've got a review of that, is so many businesses out there that are doing amazing things, but they're just not shouting and screaming about it enough. So instead of like, they seem to obsess when something does go wrong, and they're like, we need to fix it, we need to fix it, we need to fix it. But when they've got a really good job, turning that into a nice, sexy case study, trying to get a review and a testimonial, not just from the person who you've been dealing with. It could be, let's say you work in a school, it could be the head teacher, it could be the bursar, it could be the sports teacher. Go and get 3 or 4 different testimonials from the different people that you're wrapping to the case today. Spend the money on promoting that. It could be press releases, it could be guest posts, in as many different places as possible, and then do the where you then sharing it throughout every single social media platform, repeating who you are, what you do, and why you're freaking brilliant. And I think that's the key to business branding, is getting that messaging out there. When you've done something good, shout and scream about it everywhere. Because I can guarantee you, when you do something bad, and there will be times where you get upset customers, they'll shout and scream about how bad you was. So I think that's the key part to the branding. I don't think people win enough awards when they could be winning awards. Even like Mike laughed on one of the other videos where someone reached out saying, do you want to attend this awards night? It's going to cost you £500. Attend some of them. Get some of them awards. I don't know, it's quite cringy at times, but get them awards, get them reviews, get them testimonials, and get them case studies. Shout and scream why you are brilliant. And the case studies will be for the ideal customer persona. If it was, let's say, schools, and you've worked with other schools, and these other head teachers are seeing that and they're going, that's what I want, that's what I want. And the amount of times now with business branding, initially we was doing it for people for online reputation management and to defend themselves from bad press, but the amount of new business they've brought from it now, because they look great online, and it should have just been part of their business branding, but they was only doing it to suppress bad articles. And now they're starting to realise, hold on a minute, this is actual marketing. This is what we should be doing. Yeah. You don't need to be reactive. You should be proactive in controlling that brand SERP. Yeah. But anyway, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Mike, Paul, Luke, hope you like this podcast on business branding in 2026.